everyone, welcome back to, I believe it's our fourth yoga video that we've done on the City of Flin Flon's YouTube page. I thought I would do something a little bit different tonight and film my video at the end of my work week. I know we all work different schedules, different jobs, and it's been a really cold week here in Flin Flon, and I don't know about you guys, but I am in desperate need of a little bit of self-love. Just being stuck inside in the cold at my job was super busy and a little bit loud. So at the end of my work week, I thought I would end my week by giving myself some time to relax and just slow my body down before the starting of my weekend. So to do that, I thought we would need a few props. So for me to do a little bit of self-love, I like to do some more supported poses, maybe some twists and a few heart openers, just to clear out my heart chakra and open myself up to a little bit of self-love. So to do that, you might want to grab yourself your blanket if you have one. If you don't have a blanket, maybe some towels. A bolster, if you've got one, is going to be really nice for this practice. If you don't have a bolster, not to worry, pillows will work just fine. And I also have with me a block and a strap. If you don't have a block, a low stool might feel nice with a towel or a blanket over top. And a strap is just going to help us to, again, just feel a little more supported in some of the poses that we're going to try today. So let's get to it. I'm going to start on my mat in easy pose. I'm going to turn on some nice, gentle, calming music and see if we can practice some self-love together. So, let's find our easy pose. For me, that's with my sit bones slightly elevated. I like to have my legs crisscrossed in front of me, or as I would say, crisscross applesauce, or just a nice easy pose. Let's just close our eyes and take a moment here to turn our intentions and our thoughts inward. And let's just slow down our minds. I like to have my palms resting on my knees here. I like to have the top of my head reaching towards the ceiling. Just take a moment here and roll those shoulders. Take some nice inhales through your nose and some exhales through your mouth to start. Check in with yourself, and as always, I am just here to give us some suggestions, but please always refer back to your own body and how you are feeling today and what you need to help your body feel most at ease, or to get what it is that you are looking for out of this practice. As the stress of our day starts to melt away, I encourage you to keep your eyes closed if you want as we start to add some gentle movement. We can slowly start by reaching that right ear to our right shoulder. Just looking for a nice stretch along the left side of our body here. As we exhale, we might want to drop our chin and just roll our head forward, rolling over to the opposite side. So now my left ear is towards my left shoulder as I inhale here. And on my exhale, I'm just going to roll my head forward slowly just eventually ending up on the right side with my right ear towards that shoulder. Take a breath here. As I exhale, I'm going to roll my chin down, just roll my neck, just feeling a nice gentle stretch in my neck and across the top of my shoulders. Just to let that day go. Encourage you to listen to your own breathing. Let that be your guide. As we exhale, that's when we'll move. Inhale will be our pause. And exhale, we'll move to the opposite side again. Pause on your inhale. And as we exhale, roll forward, ending at the other side. We'll take one more breath here. As we exhale, we're going to bring our chin towards our chest. Just feeling a nice stretch along the back of our neck, possibly into our shoulders. Let's take a few breaths here. In through our nose and out through our nose. If you're not feeling a very intense stretch here, you can just take your hands and interlace your fingers and just not pulling, but just adding a little bit more weight, the weight of our hands on the top of our head. You don't want to be pulling down at all. You just want to maybe encourage a little more of a stretch or release for our neck here. If you're feeling enough of a stretch with your hands down, stay there. As I do this, I'm also feeling just a little bit of a stretch underneath my arms, along my side body. It feels great as well. We'll take one more breath here where we are. And as we exhale, we'll release those arms back down. And as we inhale, we'll return our head back to a nice neutral position. With our chin parallel to the floor, top of our head reaching towards the ceiling. You can open your eyes. And just take another deep breath here before we move on. We're going to take our arms out in front of us, palms facing up, and we're just going to crisscross. So giving ourselves a nice hug, reaching the palm of our hands to our shoulders. You can raise your elbows up, or if that's uncomfortable, you can drop them down. Just listen to your own body here. Give yourself a nice little hug, a little love for yourself. And just breathe here. We're looking to feel a stretching across our shoulders. Just a nice gentle pull across the upper shoulders, our upper back here. If this is not an intense enough stretch for you, you You can reach further, give yourself a little tighter squeeze, or you can do eagle arms. Eagle arms is going to be right arm under left, your palms can touch, and you can reach those elbows up towards the ceiling a little bit. It's going to give us a nice stretch across our upper back and shoulders, but also again to that side body right underneath our armpits. And just breathe here for a few breaths. If eagle arms is not for you, just enjoy that hug. We'll do that for a few more breaths. And one more breath here, in through our nose. And as we exhale, we're going to release those arms down, unwind them. If you're giving yourself that hug, we're going to switch arms. So if eagle arms is what you're going to do, it's going to be left under right this time. And the backs of your hands can be together if that's what your body needs today, or if you can reach palm to palm, or again, just that nice gentle hug. Do a few breaths here. Take one more breath here, our eagle arms. Inhale through your nose. And as we exhale, we're going to release those arms. Just bring them down by our sides. Might feel nice to reach them behind us. My palms are going to be pointing away, or sorry, my fingertips are going to be pointing away from me. I'll show you what it looks like this way. And just open up our chest here. We're looking to feel a nice stretch across the front of our chest here. We don't want to be feeling any pain in our neck or shoulders, so you can always walk that up a little bit more. Maybe tighten your fingers to give yourself a little bit more support. Just feeling a nice gentle heart opener, a little stretch maybe in the front of our neck and across the front of our chest here. And just breathe through that. Close your eyes here if you want. You can drop your chin towards your chest, or if your neck is feeling good, you can tip your head back a little bit more, reaching your chin for the ceiling. Whatever your body needs here. One more breath here, in through our nose. And out through our nose. I'm going to walk those arms back up. Find ourselves an easy pose one more time. Close your eyes. Just take a moment and check in. Okay, it might feel nice here to take a moment and uncrisscross our legs. Give them a little shake, pop your knees up and down. Might feel nice to add a few windshield wipers. My hips tend to be tight, so it's nice to just windshield wiper those out after being crisscrossed for a couple minutes. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to remove my blanket. And we're going to spend a couple minutes here on our knees. So I encourage you guys to, if necessary, put a blanket, fold it underneath your knees if your knees are sensitive. We're not going to be here too terribly long. Just take a minute and get those knees supported if that's something that your body requires today. So remember, we're just trying to give ourselves a little bit of self-love at the end of our week, or or just the end of our day, or even to start off your day, wherever this practice finds you in your week or in your busy day. So we're going to just take a moment here and find our child's pose. If you do have your bolster nearby or some pillows, it might feel really nice to give yourself a supported child's pose here. So to take your bolster if you've got it, or like I said, a couple pillows stacked on top of each other might feel really nice as well. And you're gonna push your bolster in between your legs, as close to your body as what's comfortable for you. And then we're just gonna bring our upper body down and just fold your upper body over, melt into your bolster. Or if you don't have your bolster and you want to go right down to the floor, I encourage you to do that. Just release your whole upper body. We don't want to be holding any tension here in our child's pose. We'll just take a few minutes here in either your supported child's pose or unsupported child's pose. Your arms can be stretched out in front of you, or they can be reaching back behind you. Let's just take a couple minutes here while I figure out what's going on with my music. So just close your eyes and breathe into that child's pose. We're going to feel a nice opening in our hips here, and we don't want to be holding any pressure in our upper body whatsoever. We're reaching our sit bones for our heels. And just trying to let whatever worries or stresses we might be feeling melt away, melt into our bolster. We're going to take 5 more breaths here. I should mention that if on your knees is not working for you at all today, you can always do more of a supported, wide-legged, seated position. So you can be sitting on your sit bones with your legs about mat distance apart, a little wider than hip distance. And again, if you've got that bolster, you can just support yourself this way. Just again, releasing that upper body. Or a couple pillows across your upper leg, across your legs, and just leaning over them. And you'll get the same benefit there. going to take one more nice deep breath where we are, in through our nose and out through our nose. Just slowing down our body. We're going to remove that prop. Keep it close by because we're absolutely going to use it again throughout this practice today. And we're going to start into our standing poses. So we're going to come over on all four hands and knees. Just going to be here for a moment into our tabletop position. So we want our fingers spread wide. We want our hands right underneath our shoulders. We're going to have a nice 90-degree in our knees. And again, take a moment, put something under them if you need. Like I said, we aren't going to be here long, but I do want you to practice that self-love. Listen to your body. If your knees are saying no, then you can always move this into a standing lunge, okay? So, but if your knees are no trouble, as mine are snap, crackling, and popping on my way down, we're going to switch this tabletop into a low lunge. So let's just take a moment here in tabletop. Let's check in with our pelvis and our lower back. We want to imagine that we have that hot bowl of soup on our lower back. We don't want to spill it by having it be too bowed down or too far up. So nice neutral pelvis. We want to imagine that we could push our hands right through our mat or through the floor, just giving ourselves a little bit of a stretch across our upper back here still. Our neck is going to be neutral and our gaze is going to be down towards our hands here. And we're just going to pause here in tabletop. You can play around with the distance of your knees. I like mine to be hip distance apart. You can have yours a little closer or a little further away, whatever works for you today in this tabletop position. And in this tabletop position, I can feel, again, a nice stretch across my upper back, and I can also feel a nice stretch right in here underneath my armpits and along my side body. Maybe I'm a little tight today because I can feel myself a lot there today. That might be where I'm holding some of my tension today. So we're going to take one more breath in tabletop, and then we're going to, on our next inhale, we're going to take that right foot, reach it between our hands. Just take a moment here. And we're going to find our stability. So planting our toes. You might have to tent those fingers if you have a longer legs and shorter arms like me. Everybody's body is going to be shaped a little differently, so that's okay. From here, if you're feeling comfortable and stable, we're going to walk our hands up to our knees, checking in with that lower back and pelvis. We want to have our tailbone pointing towards the ground, our pelvic bone straight up and down. We're going to be looking to feel a nice stretch in our hip on our left side. You're welcome to play around with that front foot. Maybe it needs to be a little wider for you to feel stable and balanced here, or maybe walk it in a little bit. We don't want to be feeling any pinching or tightness. We don't want to be feeling much pressure in our knee. So if you are feeling pressure here, even with that support under your knee, you can always tuck your toe and just bring yourself up into a high lunge and take that pressure off your knee. But if low lunge is working for you, let's just take a minute here. And if this feels great, stay here. If you want to add your arms, we're going to only raise our arms as high as we can without arching our back too much here. Just want to keep that nice and stable. We want to engage that core and reach our arms only as high as we can right here. Take a few breaths in our low lunge on this side. Again, feeling that nice stretch in the front of our hip on the left. Engaging our core. Keeping our back nice and straight, our spine nice and straight. That head is going to reach towards the ceiling still. On our next exhale, we're going to release those arms. And we're going to walk that foot our right foot, we're gonna walk it out to the edge of our mat. Now I have my block right handy here. I hope you have yours close by too, or a small stool. We're gonna do a nice gentle hip opener called lizard pose. My hips tend to be super tight, so it takes me a little while to get into this position, and I encourage you to just play around with it a little bit. We wanna, sometimes I just push a little bit on my leg and just see if I can get my hip to open up a little bit. I hold a lot of tension in my hips. I think a lot of us do. You can always kind of turn your foot a little bit and have your foot on the side. I don't know if you can see my foot very well, but I'll turn this way for us. So, again, in my low lunge, got my foot between my hands, my fingers are tented here, and I'm going to walk my foot just a little bit wider. So imagine that my mat were going this direction. So just on the outside of my hands now instead of in between. And I'm just going to gently open my hip on that side. If that's not for you, that's okay. You can stay up high here. Some people have no problem reaching their elbows to the ground here. My hips don't usually allow me to do that. So I'm going to grab my block and I'm just going to push up one more time and open up that hip, and then I'm going to walk my elbows down. And just bring myself forward in that nice hip opener. Looking for a nice opening on my hip on the right side in lizard. So just breathe into that hip. Try not to hold really tight with your hip flexors. We want to try and just imagining that we're releasing and opening up that hip flexor so we can let go of our tension. Just breathe through that. We don't want to be feeling any pinching here. So if you're feeling any pinching, you might want to come back up and maybe walk that foot a little closer in again. Give that a try. As always, please, please listen to your own body. Do only what feels good. We're going to take 2 more breaths on the right side. And we're going to bring our upper body back up. I'm going to push my block a little bit forward. I'm going to walk that foot back in. And I'm just going to, I'm going to do a half split. So I'm going to walk my foot forward. And I'm just going to bring my body, my bum towards my foot into a half split on the right side. We're looking to feel a release from that lizard pose we just did, and I'm also feeling just a nice gentle stretch in my hamstring on my bent leg, but also in my quad on my bent leg and in my hamstring on my straight leg. And point your toes and then release them if you want. Great. We're going to come back up. Release that leg. Come back into our child's pose. Just for a moment. A couple breaths here. Invite you to come back up, and we're going to do that all over again on the left this time. So take a moment, put something under your knees. We're going to find our tabletop position, fingers nicely spread, imagining that hot cup of coffee or cup of tea, whatever you enjoy at the end of your day. No judgment here, could be a cold cup of something. And just breathe into tabletop for 2 breaths. And again, imagining that we can push our hands right through our mat, right through the floor, but not arching our back here, just pushing with our hands and trying to keep that cup of joy from spreading, from spilling on our back. And we're just looking to feel that nice stretch across our upper back, maybe relieving any tension we may be feeling in our neck here. We're on our next inhale, we're going to bring that leg up, and as we exhale, we're going to walk that foot between our hands. And just take a moment here, and again, if you need to do this in a high lunge, just if your knees have had it, I invite you to come on up into a high lunge, but take a moment here and find that foot placement, find your balance. Maybe that foot needs to be closer to one side or the other. You might want to tent your fingers and stay here, looking for that nice 90-degree. And when we're ready, we're going to come up, finding again our neutral pelvis. Everything is going to be pointing down towards the floor. We don't want to have any bends in our back or pulling too far forward here. We want to be nice and neutral, engaging that core. You can have your hands on your knee here. Or if you're finding your stability, you can add those arms. When we add our arms, we're only going to raise them as high as we can, without that back bend. So for me, it looks like about here today. That's what I've got in me. My core is engaged. My lower belly is tight. I'm just going to breathe here, feeling that nice stretch on the front of my right hip. That is our goal. That's our intention. If you find that here, that's all you want to do today, stay here. If you want that extra challenge, if you need that extra challenge to release that stress and tension from your week, then add those arms. Just breathe here. We'll take one more breath here, in through our nose. As we exhale, we're going to release our hands down. We're going to walk that left foot out, right to the edge of our mat. We're going to find our hip opener, our lizard pose on the left. So take a moment. If your hips are juicy and ready for that opening, that release on the left, then by all means, find where you want those elbows. Your elbows can reach the floor. Mine don't. That's okay. If you need to grab a support like your block or your pillows or that small stool, you can bring that towards you. And again, I'm just going to take that moment and encourage my hip to open a little bit. I'm not pressing very hard here. I'm just encouraging my hip to open a smidge more, because I know that my hips tend to be super tight. That allows me to get my upper body in between and come down. I feel a nice stretch, both in my hip, but also in the back, almost right where my leg meets my glute. I'm also feeling a nice stretch there, where my hamstring meets my glute. I feel a nice gentle stretch there as well. I'm just going to breathe into that opening of our hip. I'm going to relax and imagine our hip flexor opening and letting go of whatever tension we're holding there. take one more nice deep breath here. And we're going to release that side. So walking our hands back up, moving that block or prop out of the way, walking that foot back in between our hands. And we're going to do that half split on the other side. So just that stretching that left leg out in front of us, bending on our right, reaching our sit bones towards our heels. We're looking for that nice stretch on the back of that leg and a little bit on the top of our bent leg as well. So quads and hamstring stretch. Might feel nice to just nod side to side and just release that neck. Great. Okay. Now would be a great time to get a drink of water. Where we meet in standing, do a little bit of standing work, and then a little more self-love back on our mats, in reclined position. So grab yourself a drink of water, and we'll be right back. To get my music to work for me today, so got that set again. Okay. For the standing portion of our self-love practice, we're going to meet at the top of our mat. And we're just going to take a nice deep breath in and find our mountain pose. For me, I like to have my feet together, my toes together. I like to lift my toes and plant them down, starting with my pinky toes, one at a time, work my way in. I like to have my knees together. That's not for everyone. So take a moment, find your mountain pose. Maybe that's hip distance, maybe you've got a slight bend to your knees, that's okay. We're looking for stability here. So find your stability, find your mountain pose, plant your feet firmly into your mat. We want to release our shoulders. We don't want to be holding them way up high here. We want our shoulders to be relaxed and down. We want our palms to be open and facing forward. Our chin ideally is going to be parallel to the floor, and our head is reaching for the ceiling. If you want a little more of a balancing challenge, I encourage you to close your eyes here. Notice we want to be almost gripping our kneecaps and pulling them upward with our quads here. Mountain, this is strength pose, our strong pose. To remember our inner strength is a wonderful practice for self-love. To take the moment and find that strength. Your eyes closed. Again, just check in, notice the work we've done so far in this practice. And from here, you guys should all be at the top of your mat, facing out. From here, we're going to lift our right leg up, bend our knee, lift our foot up, and we're going to reach ever so slowly backwards, planting that foot behind us. We're going to try and find our warrior 2 position. So for me, warrior 2 feet looks like we're going to start with our right leg back. My left leg is going to be facing forward. My toes are pointing straight out. My heel on my left foot actually lines up with the instep of my back foot on my right. That doesn't work for everybody. So just take a moment and feel, maybe your feet need to be a little wider apart to find your stability. But it's a good place to start, I guess, there with your heel towards your instep. I'm gonna add a little bit of a bend to my left leg, feeling a little bit of a stretch in my right hip now, the front of my right hip. So once my legs are stable and I have that little bit of a bend, I'm gonna check in with my pelvis again. I wanna have that nice neutral pelvis. Everything's gonna be pointing down. My tailbone is gonna be pointing down. My quads are engaged. And when my legs are feeling strong and settled, then I'm gonna add my arms. So our warrior two arms is gonna be, our fingers on our left hand are gonna be straight out in front of us. Our gaze is gonna be straight forward over our hand. And check in with our back arm. Our right arm should be straight out behind us. And we want them to ideally to be a little bit level, if that works for you. So while we're here, we're gonna have our top of our head pointing towards the ceiling. I'm gonna turn so you can probably hear me a little bit better. And we are gonna do a little bit of rotation to our hands. So palms face up. As we exhale, we're gonna switch them. So as we exhale, palms face down. As we inhale, up. As we exhale, down. So there's no saying that your arms always have to be down in warrior two. Sometimes we spend a lot of time like this in our jobs or in our day, whether we're down and reading or on a computer all day. So it's just play around. Allow yourself to figure out what works best for you. It also feels really nice to add that flare, little twist to our wrists. Kind of helps us forget about the work that we're doing in our warrior two legs, doesn't it? Okay, we're gonna release that and just bring that back leg back up. So toes together. We're gonna take a nice inhale, reaching for the ceiling. And as we exhale, we're gonna do a forward fold. So bending at our waist. Forward fold finds us with our knees slightly bent. And we're gonna have our chest reaching towards our thighs. We don't want to be holding any tension in our upper body here. I just felt my neck release and crack a little bit as I let go in my forward fold. Might feel nice to grab opposite elbows here. And just breathe. You should be able to nod yes and no here. We don't be holding any tension in our neck at all. Sometimes in a practice I was in one time, we actually tucked our hands underneath our feet. I don't know if you can see here. And we wiggled our toes and just gave the meat of our hands, the heel of our hands, just a really nice massage here in this forward fold position. I'm going to take a minute and try that. It's pretty awesome. A little love for our hands, as well as the back of our legs here. Okay, untuck those hands. We're going to inhale, halfway lift. So we're going to bring our hands up to our knees. Our back is going to be nice and flat. And we're going to exhale back into that forward fold for a half sun salutation here. As we inhale, we're going to reach ourselves, our arms all the way up to the ceiling again. And as we exhale, our hands are going to find heart center. We're going to do that a couple more times. So inhale, arms come overhead. We're gonna fold at our waist, exhale, forward fold. Inhale finds us at a halfway lift. That nice flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reaching all the way up. And exhale, hands at heart center. One more. Sweep our arms up as we inhale. Folding at the waist for forward bend. Exhale. Inhale finds us at a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reaching those hands overhead. And exhale to heart center. We're going to take a moment here and turn sideways on our mat. We're going to spread our legs as wide as it's comfortable. I like to have my toes pointing forward here still. We're going to take a nice inhale. And we're going to fold at our waist into a standing wide-legged forward fold. Oh, I think you just heard my hips pop. You can stay up on your hands here. And as you move down, you can walk your feet a little further, a little closer together, whatever feels best for you. And just play around with where you want your upper body to end up. I like to bend my elbows and just feel that nice stretch on my inner thighs, also in my hips again. A wide-legged forward fold. And just breathe here. If your hands aren't reaching, you can always be up like this. You can put a block here, or you can just hang on to your legs. Whatever works best for you. On our next inhale, we're going to walk our hands back underneath us. Both of our hands are going to be right underneath our face, and we're going to do a wide-legged forward fold twist. So I'm going to take that right hand and just reach it for the ceiling. Feeling a nice twist, a nice stretch to our lower back, our mid-back here. You can keep your head down towards the floor, or if it feels okay in your neck, you can look towards the ceiling. And as we exhale, we're going to let that go. And on our next inhale, we're going to switch arms. So left arm now reaches towards the sky. And just breathe here for 2 breaths. On our next exhale, we're going to bring that hand back down. Switch hands again. This time we're going to use our breath for the guide. So as we exhale, we're going to bring that hand down. As we inhale, we're going to switch. So right hand down, left arm up. And as we exhale, left arm comes down. Inhale, right arm comes up. And release the right. Inhale our left arm up. Using your own breath as a guide. If you're breathing faster or slower than me, that's okay. And if it feels good to stay there for a couple breaths, I encourage you to do that too. This is your practice. Do 2 more on each side. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale brings it back to the floor. Switching hands, inhaling left. Exhale, returns that down. One more time on the right. Inhale. And exhale, release it. Last time, inhale left. And release. We're gonna walk our feet closer together and bring ourselves back up to standing and head and heel toe your feet back underneath you. Give them a little shake. Don't think I forgot about our warrior two on the other side. That's what we're doing right now. So nice inhale up, hands overhead. And as we exhale, we're gonna forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale brings us all the way to standing, reaching overhead. And exhale, hands at heart center. Ready to find warrior two, legs on the other side. I'm gonna step forward with my right leg this time. And back with my left. Again, find your strength pose, move those feet further apart or closer together. We want to be reaching the toes of our right foot now, straight out in front of us. Or if that's not working, if you're feeling any kind of tension in your knee, just maybe try bringing it in or out, or even just walk that whole leg over or back. We don't want to be feeling any pain in our knees here. So if you're not feeling any pain, toes are going to point forward. I want to make sure that I'm not leaning too far over in this direction. I want to have my neutral pelvis again. I want my body to be as upright as I can as I add that little bend to my front, my right leg. And I can imagine that my feet could keep pushing and like eventually just stretch my mat, rip my mat into really using the outside of my foot on my back leg, and I can really feel that stretch in my inner thigh of my right leg. That's kind of what we're looking for here. Again, check in with that pelvis, nice and neutral, everything pointing towards the floor. The chest is not hunched over. We want to be as upright as we can here. Add that bend. When we're feeling that stability, that work in our legs, we're going to add our arms. So right arm out in front of us, left arm comes behind. And as we inhale, we're going to turn our palms up. As we exhale, we're turning down. Inhale, palms come up. Exhale, down. Forgetting about the work that's happening right now. Inhale. Exhale. Palms come down. Inhale, palms come up. Exhale, palms come down. One more. Inhale, palms come up. Exhale, palms come down. Great work, everybody. We're going to step that back leg up to the front of our mat again. Finding our mountain pose. Give those legs a little bit of a shimmy, a little shake to release. Might feel nice to give your whole body a little shake here. Finding our mountain pose, palms facing forward, lifting up our kneecaps so they're quadriceps. Closing our eyes, relaxing our shoulders, chin parallel to the floor, at the top of our head reaching towards the ceiling. Finding and reminding ourselves of our inner strength in our mountain pose. Just gonna breathe here. If you want that extra little balance practice, close your eyes. It's okay to sway a little bit, but you want to try and stay as stable as you can. Mountains don't move much in the wind, do they? Good job, everybody. You made it through the standing portion of our class. Oh, that time went super fast. Okay, we're gonna move down towards our mat for a little bit more love here. So find yourself sitting on your mat. We are going to grab our block or our bolster. We're gonna do a reclined pose. I think I'm gonna choose reclined bridge is what I'm feeling for myself today. So using my bolster, I'm gonna keep that nice and handy as I lie back. I'm gonna take that bolster and I'm just gonna prop it under my hips. If you don't have a block or a bolster, you can always just do bridge pose without being supported, but as today is a self-love practice, I'm gonna practice a little self-love and support it. So in our supported bridge pose, we wanna elevate our hips, but we don't want to be holding any tension anywhere. So just relax down into your bolster, getting the benefits of an inversion without actually doing the work for one. So we want to have our neck nice and relaxed here. I like to have my palms facing up, but you can feel how that feels best for you. And close your eyes. If you want to keep your feet planted on the floor, you can. If you want more of an intense stretch in the front of your hips, you can just straighten your legs out. That's going to add a little bit of intensity to your hips, but also you might feel a little bit of compression in your lower back if that feels good for you. You can do it like this. And you're going to stay here for 2 minutes. If at any time it becomes uncomfortable, please don't feel like you have to stay in whatever pose you chose. You can always swap those feet back up. And just readjust as necessary. Remember, we are practicing self-love throughout this entire practice today. We're going to take 2 more nice deep breaths here and move on to our next pose. So if you have your legs straight out in your supported bridge pose, you might want to walk them back onto your mat. With your knees bent, we're going to lift our hips up and remove that prop. And we're gonna, might feel nice to give yourself a little hug here. Grab your knees. Maybe rock from side to side. Give yourself a little massage. Might also feel nice to try to do a happy baby here. So reaching for either the inside or the outside of your feet, bending your knees, and just rock from side to side. And happy baby. And play around here a little bit. It might feel nice to stretch one leg straight. And release that side. Whatever we do on one side, we always do on the other. So and stretch that other, your right leg out, or just rock. And release our feet. We're going to find ourselves in Shavasana. So grab what you need. Might feel nice to grab a blanket and cover yourself up. Maybe a pillow for underneath your head. It might feel nice to put a bolster under your knees. I always like to, as I adjust before I find my final restful position, I like to just lift my hips up and make sure that my lower back is completely relaxed and released and supported with my mat, so I don't have that arch in my lower back. So take a moment, find your most comfortable Shavasana. Palms facing up. We don't want to have our legs touching or our arms touching our body. Make up as much space as you can on your mat. Close your eyes. And just take some nice breaths in through your nose. Out through your nose. We want to try and clear our minds in Shavasana. If you're feeling like your mind is still running lists through it even after that practice, then just let those thoughts come in, but then just kind of wrap a bubble around them. And as you exhale, imagine that you're just blowing them away, not forgetting about them, not pretending like they don't exist, just allowing yourself to let them go for a little while. That you can quiet your mind, find your calm, return yourself to your peaceful self. I invite you to keep your eyes closed as we start to bring our minds back into our bodies. add some very gentle movements, starting with our fingers and our toes. Just give them a little wiggle as we start to awaken from our Shavasana. We're in no rush. Remember, listen to your body. If you want to stay in Shavasana after I end this video, you're welcome to do that. Or if you want to start to slowly come back up with me, it might feel nice to roll those wrists, roll those toes, those ankles. It might feel nice to stretch your arms overhead while you're still lying on the ground. Maybe stretching one arm longer than the other. And then switching sides. Reaching those toes and cracking them all together. Clenching your toes together, making a fist with those toes, and then release. It might feel nice to reach for those knees one more time. And give them a hug. Take a moment and massage your lower back. And when you're ready, I invite you to roll over to one side. And just pause here for a couple breaths. This is your last chance to let go. Let go of whatever stress or worries you might be holding on to. And practicing that self-love, that forgiveness for yourself. And when you're ready, I invite you to come back up to your easy pose. Crossing our legs. I'm going to read you a little something that I found from Suzanne Hine. So you can close your eyes and just listen. Love the mess. Love who you are. You're worthy, even with the blocks. There is no there. We're forever deepening into who we really are, our true selves, minus all the wounds. Because that's all a wound or a block is, an injured part of you that needs love. Through love, the wounds dissolve, not because they need to be gone so you can be worthy to have what you want, but because you are whole and beautiful exactly as you are. And in knowing that, healing comes. Suzanne Hine. So with our eyes closed, I invite you to take a nice deep breath, reaching those hands overhead. As we exhale, our palms are going to touch, are going to meet. We're going to bring them down to heart center. As we exhale, we're going to take our hands at heart center, either palm in palm or palm over palm, with our eyes closed. We're going to take this last opportunity to find our gratitude for the practice that we just did for ourselves, for our body. And we're going to remember that we are worthy of love. And we're going to remind ourselves to be kind to others, but also to ourselves. Thank you for practicing with me. Have a great week, everyone. Till next time.